are broadcasting to you from our North Catholic studios in Cranberry Township for this episode of our podcast on North Catholic Athletics. My name is Alex Brown.
And I'm Ryan Barry.
And together we are your hosts for this podcast. And Ryan, we have a lot to break down.
Yes, we do, Alex. We got 2 playoff games to recap, both for the boys basketball team and the girls basketball team, as well with talking about a wrestler, Mackenzie Butler, and finish up with the hockey team. We'll start off with the girls basketball. The Trojanettes won their first playoff game after they had the bye in the first round against Laurel last night, 61-33, an impressive win. Of course, there were still some tense moments. It doesn't seem like it with the final score, but Laurel put up a fight, and North Catholic had to earn it, and they ended up on top, and hopefully they can carry their momentum into the game against the 5-seed Waynesburg Central on Saturday.
Because Laurel, as you said, Laurel really fought back in that game. They were down by double digits heading into the second half, and they battled back to make it a 4-point game in the third quarter. And then North Catholic turned on the Jets. They really clamped down defensively, and they ended up winning by 28. That was their biggest margin they beat them this year by. They played them twice already.
Yeah, North Catholic played a nearly flawless game, but there were 2 things that I look at that were a little bit problematic. The first quarter, they only scored 6 points. They had the lead 6-5 somehow, but they only scored 6 points. That's one of their lowest totals of the year, and that's obviously something that you can't continue if you want to win 3A and then progress further into states. And the other flaw for North Catholic, as you could say, is the start of the second half. You're up 16 at halftime, and then Laurel put a big run on, cut it down to 4 points, which is very impressive to Laurel. A lot of credit came to them. In the first half, they didn't do this at all. They actually started driving the ball in the second half, trying to cut lanes, draw fouls, and they did a really good job with that. And that was able to, I guess, throw North Catholic off guard defensively. They were able to counter a lot of things North Catholic did, and they cut that lead down to 4. But, of course, North Catholic hung in there, called it a quick timeout, and then got right back up and won by 28.
I don't think Laurel scored in the fourth quarter.
I don't think they did. I think they had that run cut down to 4, and if they scored any, it was only a couple buckets after that.
And that just shows how North can really clamp it down when they have to. And another fantastic win that propels them into the semifinals of the WPIAL Class 3 playoffs. Offensively, they had some lulls. As you said, the slow start, as they've been prone to have a lot this year. Offensively, what do you think needs to be fine-tuned as we get deeper into the WPIAL and closer to states?
I think the most important thing, and North Catholic's been very good at this throughout the year, but sometimes it has been an issue, is trying to force things too much. A couple of costly turnovers in that game that gave Laurel an opportunity to get back into it, and that's how they went on their run, which cut it down to 4 points. But just making sure you slow the game down a little bit when you're, I guess, through pressure or you're under pressure. Maybe Laurel scores a couple of baskets. You don't want to force things. You want to slow it down a little bit. A couple of times last night they tried to force it in the passing lanes, and it caused turnovers and even extended Laurel's run. But he's got to fix that. It's been good throughout the year, but there's a couple of times that has been a problem, and it's got to make sure that doesn't continue throughout the rest of the playoffs.
And here's Anna Waskowitz from more, as this is our post-game interview with her after the last night's game at a loud Barth and Graham Court. And Anna, thank you for joining us. Fantastic effort and great game, Anna.
Thank you.
After the slow start, how was it to get that momentum going in the second quarter?
It was good. I think we were a little bit nervous to start because, playoff game and our seniors, it could have been their last game. But once we start getting the ball in the hoop, it was good. We never stopped,
It seemed in that first half you were able to limit the amount of times that Laurel could drive inside. Was that the game plan going into this one?
Kind of, yeah. Yes, that was. So, and then I started turning the corner on our girl and started making some shots, so that was good.
That effort to go inside the paint, and you have that kind of that scrappy, that gritty kind of effort inside the paint. How do you form that gameplay over the years?
I think I've just always been more of a defensive player.
Yeah.
So, if I'm struggling on the offensive side, it's just going after balls and rebounds I know I can do. So that just helps being aggressive and stuff. So.
After Laurel cut the lead to 4, you guys called a timeout. What did Coach Rodman tell you guys in that timeout to refocus you guys and for you guys able to get it up to 28 points and win that game?
She just said it was mostly defensive. We started giving up shots and being lazy and stuff, but she just said to work harder, don't give up. This is you got to stay in it.
And you're going back to the semifinals once again. How's it feel to go back?
It feels good. It was good. We're going to finish the job this time.
Finish the job. There we go. Thank you very much for joining us today.
And that was an interview with Anna Waskowitz after North Catholic's second round playoff win against Laurel, 61-38. A good interview and a little bit of problems there. It's kind of hard to hear in that court, so we apologize for any of those problems.
It just happens. It was loud. It was loud last night for both games.
Definitely
it was loud, and that 61-33 win propels North Catholic back to the semifinals against Waynesburg Central this Saturday at 2 p.m. And I believe that game is going to be at North Hills High School. And that's where that game will take place.
Yeah, and the championship is guaranteed not to be a rematch of last year as Mohawk lost to Avonworth, a close game in the quarterfinals.
Yep, and then that game, the championship will be at the Pete this year, right?
Yes.
The Pete, and that'll be fantastic if the girls can make it to that. And with that, let's look at the boys team as they lost to Lincoln Park last night by the score of 77-67. And that was a tough game, Ryan. Really tough game. High-spirited throughout. Really loud, incredible atmosphere. And it just didn't work out in the end for North.
Yeah, in that first half, it was really hard to stay in the game for the Trojans because Lincoln Park, they just made shot after shot. It was just like a stranglehold they had on North. Every time North made a big shot, Lincoln Park would counter. North Catholic was able to stay in the game with some also counters as well to some of those Lincoln Park shots. But that first half was rough. But North Catholic was able to string a few runs together in the third and fourth quarter and make it a much closer game near the end of the game.
They were down by 17 in the second quarter, battled back to be down by 4 in the fourth quarter against a really, really strong Lincoln Park team that does not give up points easily, and it's tough to go on a run against. And they were able to shut them down defensively and get a lot of baskets quickly, especially in the paint.
Alex, you were broadcasting that game. Do you think turnovers were an issue for North Catholic?
Absolutely. There was some sloppy passes. There was some travels they get called. Some missed baskets that maybe should have gone in. Some missed reads. Definitely, thinking about it, there's quite a few things.
And those things you can't have against a talented team like Lincoln Park. Of course, they're going to happen every game, and if they build on each other, that's when Lincoln Park got that 17-point lead off of turnovers and missed opportunities for North Catholic. But North Catholic was able to battle back. Credit to them. I mean, a lot of adversity in that game going against a team they lost to in the championship last year. Very talented Lincoln Park team. We got two very good players back, and they were just overwhelming North Catholic in the first half. And North Catholic was able to battle through that and make it a much closer game.
Absolutely. And Malik Thomas, who's back after missing about a month this season with an injury, he was fantastic in that game. He's a freshman, and he's special. He has offers from Pitt, UTEP, and there's one other team he had an offer from. Yeah, Pitt, and then St. John's. St. John's was the other team. But they have 3 Division I players on that team. 3 Division I players. And when you keep them to a 4-point game in the fourth quarter at one point, that's a good team at North Catholic. That really is. North is a solid bunch. They believe in each other. They trust in each other. And they believe in each other's ability to execute during the game. And that's what kept them close in that game. And throughout the season, I think. Because it's an unselfish basketball team, as we kept on hearing.
Definitely, and their season may not be over. One thing has to happen, though. Lincoln Park has to beat Quaker Valley. If Lincoln Park beats Quaker Valley, then North Catholic is headed to states. If Quaker Valley beats Lincoln Park, then Deer Lakes takes that spot instead.
But that does not diminish their season at all whatsoever. Because that's a tough game. That's a tough 5 seed. That's a tough quarterfinal matchup.
Very unlucky.
That's a championship
Lincoln Park
matchup.
was probably a second or 1 seed if they would have been healthy all year.
That's a championship matchup in the quarterfinal round. And that's just a really tough break. Because if you look at North's schedule this year, they lost to Deer Lakes in their second to last game of the year by 2 points at Deer Lakes. And that brought them to 11-1 in the conference and down to the 4 seed. And I think if they won that game, as we've been talking about, they probably would have not been the 4 seed. They would have gotten a bye. If they were the 3 seed, they would have been the other side of the bracket from Lincoln Park and Quaker Valley, and they might have made it all the way.
I think they would have. Bella Vernon, of course, would have been standing in their way also, but I think you'd rather play Bella Vernon than Lincoln Park or Quaker Valley.
Absolutely. But as you said, that does not mean their season is over. There is hope. There is hope left for North Catholic, and in particular on Saturday when everyone here at North Catholic is going to be pulling for those same Lincoln Park Leopards. And with that, let's talk about wrestling. As wrestling, their season's over. Mackenzie Butler's is not, as she won in her last matchup at the WPIAL qualifier, and now she will be heading to states in Harrisburg on March the 13th to face off there as we congratulate her on her achievements in the wrestling team this year, as they've had a good season, really solid season.
Got a couple wins this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
First since 2015.
First since 2015 against, I think it might have been Riverside or Riverview in there. And from there, it's been a much better year than they have had in the past, and as they start to build up that program ever more so every single season. And we congratulate them on their success this year. And with that, let's talk about hockey. Hockey. Tell us about it, Rye.
Well, we're the second seed. Not the way you want to get into it, having had to have Quaker Valley lose after we lost to McDowell 5-4, which would have clinched the second seed for us. We still got the second seed, and we don't know who we're going to be playing yet, but it should be a fun playoffs in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. And the second seed, nothing bad to write home about there. Really isn't. Fox Chapel undefeated this year. They're the 1 seed. But you've played them this year. But since then, that was the beginning of the year when the team had a rough start, as I think everyone on the team would admit. But from there, it's been really lights out the rest of the year. A lot of confidence building up. The line are starting to gel. How do you feel like this is the team that can make it all the way and beat Fox Chapel?
Yeah, Fox Chapel is definitely beatable. Freeport took them to overtime, and Freeport's probably going to miss the playoffs. I think Fox Chapel pulled the one at 4-3 at the end, but there's definitely beatable. They've had a couple close calls this year. They haven't lost yet, but they're a team that can be beat, and we know that going into playoffs. The one thing, I think we could win it all if we stay disciplined and just play the way we play with our speed and our hard forward check. And I think we'll be okay, but discipline is definitely the key. That's the reason we lost to McDowell. They had 3 or 4 power play goals, and if we don't take those penalties or the refs don't call those penalties, then we win that game.
Absolutely, it's a combination of both, and that has been a problem throughout the year. But it's better than last year. It is better than last year, even though North leads. I think they're second in all of PIHL hockey this year in penalties, but they're still second place.
Hey, we've played more games than most other teams.
Yeah, you have more games, about another game or two in hand. Teams have on you as we head down to the close of the regular season. And the first game of the playoffs will probably be happening in about 2 weeks. And we look forward to that, as that's going to be great. And we wish you and the team
Alex
the
will
best
be broadcasting that on North Carolina Sports Network. He's been
Will you be playing in it?
Yeah, he's been a great,
we're wishing you the best of luck.
Great broadcaster all year. I'm lucky to have him.
Hardly. Everything on the give credit to everyone on the ice, including yourself, second in the team in scoring this year, as he's been having the hot stick as he goes down the end of the season. And a little correction on wrestling, as it was Riverview they beat, and it was also South Allegheny who they really beat in a nice matchup there. As North, we have a lot of achievements here. Tremendous athletic programs here in the winter sports. In all sports, we really do. As the winter sports come to a close here and the spring sports get ready to start up.
For some baseball, that'll be fun.
Baseball, we got boys volleyball we'll be doing broadcasts for. Baseball we'll probably do some broadcasts for as well. We got crew, we got lacrosse, track and field, all right around the corner. And we'll be bringing that all to you as we set them up on our next podcast coming up soon.
Yep, until our next podcast, remember, we are your home for everything North Catholic Athletics.